We got shirts on sale. Express your love for the evolutions and the new channel rebrand with an evolution t-shirt and hoodie on sale now. Also, if you like anime, go check out our anime channel MysticSage for awesome anime content. And be sure to follow me on social media so you can stay caught up with the channels and me. Links will be in the description below. So it's finally time to wrap up the Sun and Moon Alternative Starter Series with the roided up Tom the Cat itself, Incineroar. I've definitely come to enjoy Alola a lot more over the years, but it's going to feel really good to finally finish off our first set of Alolan adventures. Of course, we'll have 2 more to do with the Ultra games, but we'll get to those soon enough. I'm hoping you all will like this team. It's going to feel a bit familiar, but with a few surprises here and there. As always though, before we hop into the team, let me go over what a best team is and how I determined that for all of you that are new to the series. A best team is a team of 6 Pokemon that is designed for the absolute best performance for its said Pokemon game. The team usually revolves around a best starter, but since we're using alternate starters this time around, this team will revolve around one of them instead, with this team focusing on Incineroar. Each team member is designed to do well against the Totem Pokemon, the Kahunas, the Elite Four members, Champion, Rival, and the Evil team leaders. Then when it comes to making their movesets, we'll be including TM moves, however we do not allow egg moves nor post-game tutor moves. So with all of that out of the way, let's finally wrap up the Sun and Moon alternate starters. We're going to, of course, open up this best team with the Pokemon of the hour, Incineroar. When it comes to Torracat and Litten, you're going to be working with pure fire types up until Incineroar steps in the ring, where from then on, you'll have yourself a fire/dark type. Much like with the other lines of starter Pokemon in Alola, Litten evolves into Torracat at level 17, and then Torracat will become Incineroar. When we take a look at Incineroar's stats, the one that stands out the most is the base 115 attack, which makes Incineroar the strongest physical attacker of the Alolan trio. Though that isn't too big of a surprise considering Incineroar is a wrestler after all. It's got a pair of solid defense stats with 90 in both and 95 base HP, so there is some bulk potential there. However, it is the slowest of the starters with 60 base speed, so that's something that will have to be worked around. So the moveset is looking like this: Darkest Lariat, Flare Blitz, Acrobatics, and Swords Dance. Darkest Lariat is Incineroar's signature move and has got 85 base power, which naturally will be getting a stab boost. Since you don't get Darkest Lariat until Torracat evolves, just use Bite until then, which you'll end up getting at level 24. The next move is Flare Blitz, though Incineroar doesn't actually learn that until level 55, so I'd suggest you guys use Flame Charge first. You end up getting it after defeating Colress in a battle, and that move has got 50 base power and boosts Incineroar's awful speed by a stage with every successful hit. Flare Blitz has got 120 base power, but of course, there's a 33% HP recoil along with a 10% chance to burn the opponent, so it's a move that should be used strategically. The next move is Acrobatics, and you can get that on 10 Caret Hill, but you'll need the Tauros charge function enabled on your Pokerider. Since we don't really use items when building these teams, you'll get a great boost from 55 base power up to 110. Acrobatics is great coverage against fighting types, which will be a massive help. Finally, there is Swords Dance, which can be bought at the Miley City Pokemart. Swords Dance will increase Incineroar's physical attack by 2 stages for each usage of the move, and generally will enable it to take on just about anything with its attacking moves. With these moves, Incineroar can do well against the devastating Totem Lurantis, Totem Vikavolt, technically Hapu's Alolan Duck trio, but it's strong and fast, so I wouldn't recommend it. Totem Komodo with Acrobatics, Guzma's entire team, just be careful of Glissapod's Razor Shell, Faba's entire team, just watch out for Bruxish's Aqua Jet, Lucian's Lilligant, Mismagius, and Beware, just be careful of Hammer Arm. Gladion's Weavile and Lucario, be careful of Aurisphere. How's Alolan Raichu and Decidueye. Technically Hala's entire team with Acrobatics, but you'll need to be super careful. Ace Rolla's entire team aside from Sableye. Kahili's Skarmory. And finally, Kukui's Alolan Ninetales and Magnezone. Unfortunately, Incineroar doesn't get a whole lot of coverage, so it's a bit rougher to use than the other 2 starters. However, in the battles that it is good enough in, it can really pull its punches. Taking the second slot on this team, we have a returning member from the original Sun and Moon Best team, Jolteon. I don't know if I wanted to include Jolteon on another Alola-based best team, but honestly with all the solid water and flying types we're up against in Alola, it was really the best option to bring back for this team. You can get yourself to EV needed in a few different places, the earliest being as an egg at Paniola Ranch, though if you'd rather go out and catch one yourself, you can run into EV on Route 4 or 6. To evolve into Jolteon, naturally you'll need a Thunderstone, and you can find one of those on Route 8 behind a trailer. Jolteon might not be the most diverse Pokemon you could have on a team, but when you need a fast, hard-hitting electric Pokemon, you definitely can't go wrong with this one. Having 110 special attack and 130 speed basically puts the nail in the coffin if a Pokemon has even a slight weakness to electric types or awful special defense. Jolteon's moveset is going to be Discharge, Volt Switch, Thunder Wave, and Shadow Ball. It's a pretty basic set of moves, all things considered, but it gets the job done. Discharge will be your main attacking move, and that can be learned at level 37. Volt Switch is here as an option for you to quickly get Jolteon out of an unfavorable situation, and that TM can be obtained later on at the Hokalani Observatory. Thunder Wave is simply here to fill up a move slot, but can be pretty useful if you need to paralyze an annoying opponent. That move can be learned at level 33. Finally, for a little bit of coverage, we have Shadow Ball, and that TM can be found on a platform in the water on Route 14. With these moves, Jolteon can do well against Totem Mimikyu, Plumeria's Golbat, Guzma's Golisopod and Masquerain, Faba's entire team, Lucimeon's Mismagius and Milotic, Gladian's Crobat, How's Raichu and Vaporeon, Hollis Poliwrath, Olivia's Relicanth, Ace Roll's team is set from Sableye, Kahili's entire team, and finally Professor Kukui's Braviary. As always, Jolteon isn't the most diverse, we all know this, but it's quick, powerful, and really makes good use of those electric attacks, so it's always going to be welcome on a best team in my opinion. Wrapping up the first half of the team is none other than Lurantis, bringing its great grass power to the game. Lurantis is a really good grass type, and I figured including it here for coverage of the typing was a pretty good call. You have to get a Fomantis first, which can be found on Route 5, and from there, you'll need to train that little guy up to level 34 during the day, so it'll evolve into the grassy powerhouse it is destined to be. Lurantis is another absolutely powerful physical attacker, but unfortunately it has very poor speed. But much like with Incineroar, it has 90 base defenses, both physically and specially, so it can eat a few attacks before turning around and absolutely going to town on the opponent. It's got the ability Leaf Guard as well, so if you happen to be battling in the sun, you won't have to worry about being afflicted by any status conditions. Leaf Blade, Leech Life, Poison Jab, and Aerial Ace are the moves that make up Lurantis' moveset this time around. Leaf Blade is a fantastic base 90 power move that Lurantis will learn as a Fomantis at level 23. That's a super good move to get so early on in a moveset, so you won't ever have to worry about what grass type move you have to use before getting it. Leech Life is a move you learn by TM, and can be found at the Akala outskirts right past Memorial Hill, giving you a move with 80 base power and a wonderful secondary effect that allows you to receive half the damage done as health. The next move is Poison Jab, one that will serve as wonderful coverage for fairies. You get the Poison Jab TM on Route 17 right before you arrive in Po Town, in an area sort of blocked off by Tauros Charge rocks. Finally, there is Aerial Ace, which is a TM obtainable at the Mila City Pokemon Mart. With these moves, Lurantis can do well against Totem Wishiwashi, Totem Lurantis with Fury Cutter, Olivia's entire team, Nanny's Krokorok and Alolan Persian, Happy's Gastrodon and Mudsdale, Totem Komodo with Aerial Ace, technically Guzma's team with Aerial Ace, but that should be only as a last resort, Faba's entire team, Lucimeon's Clefable, Lilligant, Milotic, and Beware, Gladian's Weavile and Savali, but I wouldn't recommend going toe-to-toe with that Weavile, How's Alolan Raichu, Vaporeon, and Decidueye. Hollow's entire team is be careful that Ice Hammer on Crabominable, Olivia's entire team is set from Probopass, Ace Roll is Delmice and Palisand, and finally, Kukui's Lycanroc, Alolan Ninetales a Poison Jab, and Primarina. Doing things with Fomantis for a little while might be a little tough, considering it's not the strongest thing in the world. But once it evolves into a Lurantis, it's easy to see why it was chosen to be a totem Pokemon and is once again very welcomed to an Alolan Best team. Coming up next, we have got a Pokemon featured on the Decidueye Best team, Starmie. Starmie has proven itself to be an incredible Pokemon across so many generations worth the best teams, so it should come as no surprise to see it return once again on this team. You can first get Staryu from fishing on Route 7 or on Hano Beach. Then you just need to get yourself a Water Stone from Route 8, and it'll be good to evolve right into Starmie. With 100 base special attack and 115 speed, it's painfully obvious to see why Starmie has been on so many best teams up to this point. Now with that said, we're just going to move right on into the moves. This moveset should be familiar, consisting of Scald, Ice Beam, Psychic, and Dazzling Gleam. Normally, we would have Thunderbolt on Starmie, but unfortunately, that TM is in the post-game. So we went with the next best choice in Dazzling Gleam. Scald is our go-to water move that can even give a chance to burn the opponent's Pokemon. That TM can be obtained at Brooklet Hill. Next is our beloved Ice-type move that we couldn't live without, Ice Beam. That TM can be found pretty late game on Mount Lanakila. In the third slot, we naturally have Psychic. You can get that as a level up move on Staryu, but you'll have it as a TM long before that, so just go with using the TM. You can get that from Wick after defeating Nilligo. Last is Dazzling Gleam, which can be found later on in the vast Pony Canyon. With these moves, Starmie can do well against Totem Salazzle, Olivia's Kahuna team, Nanny's Krokorok, just be careful of those dark type moves, Hapu's Ductrio and Mudsdale, Totem Komodo, Plumeria's team, Lucimeon's Beware, Gladian's Crobat and his Weavile, just be careful of that Night Slash. How's Decidueye? Hala's entire Elite Four team, Olivia's Carbink, Golem, Probopass, and Lycanroc, Acerola's Driftblim, Delmice, and Palossandus, be careful, Kahili's entire team aside from Skarmory, and finally, Professor Kukui's Lycanroc and his Braviary. Need I really say anything? Starmie is a beast in any way of its best team appearances. It's as simple as that. I think we can move on. We reach the penultimate Pokemon now, that being the teddy bear with a fatitude, Beware. Beware can be found as a Stuffle on Route 8, but there is only a 5% chance to find one, so you'll probably want to kick back and get comfortable. Probably with a Mystic Umbreon video on as you hunt for this elusive Pokemon. Though when you get your hands on one, you'll be in for a real treat once you get to level 27 and it evolves into Beware. Beware continues the trend of a slower Pokemon on this team, but it makes up for it big time with the base attack at 125 and an HP stat at 120. It also has a great ability called Fluffy, which halves the damage taken by moves that make direct contact, but it doubles the damage taken by fire types. Beware's moves are Return, Brick Break, Bulldoze, and Payback. You can get the TM for Return from the Malasada shop in Mile City from a police officer after you get the Frustration TM. It's a great move that should work well on Beware, not just for its stab, but for the fact that you'll probably use this powerful Pokemon often enough to build up its happiness. Brick Break is next, and it's another great stab move that you'll get in TM form in the Verdant Cavern before you even face off with the first Totem Pokemon. Then we've got Bulldoze, and honestly, I would have preferred to use Earthquake here, but you don't get that TM for it until post-game, so I settled on Bulldoze. Honestly, in some ways, Bulldoze is a bit better of an option for Beware, since connecting with it will lower the opponent's speed. You can get that TM from the Pokemon Mart in Mile City. Finally, we have Rock Slide, which is a TM move that can be picked up out at Melee C after you get Torpedo Jet. As you can see, it's possible to get all the moves that Beware is using very early on in the game, solidifying its position as a major part of this team. With these moves, this lovable oaf can squeeze the crud out of Olivia's entire team, Nanu's Krokorok and Alolan Persian, Happy's Alolan Duck Trio, Plumeria's entire team, Guzma's entire team, Faba's Ladian, Lucamine's Beware, although it'll be a pretty even fight, Gladian's Crobat, Weavile, and Lucario, How's Alolan Raichu and Kamala, Hala's Beware and Crabominable, Olivia's entire Elite Four team, Acerola's Driftblim and Frostlass, Kahili's Crobat, Oricorio, Mandibuzz, and Toucannon. Naturally, you'll want to be careful if you do that. And finally, Kukui's entire team aside from Primarina. You'll just want to be wary of all this fairy and flying moves. Beware is an animal for sure. Sure, it might be a bit slow, but it more than makes up for that with its diverse move pool, bulk, and powerful physical attack. Finally, we reached the last Pokemon on this team, that being the ghostly fairy type, Mimikyu. I thought it would be really cool to include this on the team, considering it has never been on one of these best teams before. I was kind of shocked when I realized it actually, considering just how good this Pokemon can be. Though I did happen to include it in a part of the spin-off Theme Best Team series as a part of the Best Team for Ghost types, which you should definitely go check out. Anyway, Mimikyu is another really great physical attacker, boasting a base 90 physical attack and a pretty good 96 base speed. It of course also has that awesome signature ability being Disguise, which allows you to take a single hit without being damaged. Mimikyu is just so good, and I was happy to have the chance to finally use it on one of these best teams. Mimikyu's powerful moveset is Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw, Play Rough, and Toxic. Shadow Sneak is a move that Mimikyu learns at level 14, but if you manage to catch one that is under level 31, you'll still have it on the moveset ready to be used. Shadow Claw is next, and while Mimikyu will learn it at level 37, you can instead find the TM for it at the Kuni City TM shop, so you'll be able to throw it right at Mimikyu before it gets to that level. Next is Play Rough, which Mimikyu unfortunately doesn't learn until level 46. It's an absolutely outstanding base 90 power move that you want on this squad, so grind it out and use it often once you get access. Finally, there is Toxic, which I threw on here to help give a fourth move. You can get it at the Ether Paradise, just look around for it. And finally, with these moves, our little Pikachu ripoff can do well against Nanu's entire team, Totem Komodo, Happy's Flygon, Faba's Slowbro, Bruxish and Hypno, Lucamine's Mismagius and Beware, Gladian's Weavile, How's Alolan Raichu and Decidueye, Hala's entire Elite Four team, Acerola's entire team, and finally Kahili's Mandibuzz. Sure, it's a little anticlimactic that Mimikyu doesn't provide any super effective coverage at the very final battle, but it is still extremely useful from the very moment you get it right up until the very end. And you know what? I think that makes it worth having and absolutely deserving of its spot on this team. Well, that finally wraps up the Sun and Moon Alternate Starter Series. It's been a long time coming, but I'm glad that we're finally done. Although we're not out of the woods yet, as we still have 2 alternate starter videos to do in the Ultra games, so definitely keep your eyes out for that in the future. What'd y'all think of this team though? Did you think it was deserving of this title, or do you have a different team in mind? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other Nintendo content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, and much more. Also,
Also, I've been reviewing every episode of My Hero Academia Season 4 over on MysticSage, so head over there if you're into that too. I would love that a lot. Want to support me further in game called Perks? Check out my Patreon.
Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Memory Martin, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Awesome Lego, Jarrett Weiss Austin, Sodden Grider, Nigma97, and Kermit117 did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond.
It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrand, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.